Hello and welcome into another edition of the Arizona State Sun Devils Insider Podcast. My name is Kevin Hickson. I'm your lead beat writer for the Arizona State Sun Devils on SI and your host of this daily Insider Podcast. And it's a great Saturday afternoon now. After Arizona State wrapped up their second practice in the spring season, that was available to media roughly 9:30 to 11:15, so we're about an hour removed from it officially wrapping up. And there was a lot to take away from this practice yet again. Before that, before we talk about some of the key happenings in practice and what was said after practice, I do want to talk about the men's basketball head coaching search real quick. It appears as if Randy Bennett is the guy for the job. It's probably going to come down to whether he accepts it or not, but the ball is in his court. Arizona State clearly wants him, and I've been a huge proponent of the Randy Bennett idea. You all know that, and you can go back and verify that as well. Um, Outside of Josh Schertz, he was really my number two guy, I'd say. I mean, Jared Calhoun obviously is in the mix as well, but it appears as if the stars are aligning for him to take the Cincinnati job once Utah State season is over. So, Randy Bennett probably going to be the next head coach of Arizona State men's basketball, and that is a very good hire. He has potential to build off of a lot of things that Bobby Hurley did later in his tenure, particularly in recruiting and developing international talent. And I really think that he is one of those voices that you can point to and look at as one that will carry the Sun Devils through the transition period that they're going through right now, as well as the renovations for Desert Financial Arena. So we should know what's going to happen probably on Monday or Tuesday. That would be my guess. We'll see what happens in the days to come. Uh, Without further ado, let's talk about football spring practice. So it was, I've pointed out standouts from day one, even though day one was more of a walkthrough, get to know each other, get to know the playbook kind of thing. Um, they're not in pads right now, so it's a lot different than a normal practice that you would typically see during fall. But there were some things that stood out to me, my bad. One of them being that Marcus Gillis suited up for the first time. Dillingham said that he would probably miss the first day or two at most. He missed a day. Now he's back, and he is an absolute unit in that running back room. Uh, the running back room is very talented. Don't let losing Raleek Brown, don't let the post-Cam Scadaboo era distract you. Kyson Brown is back, and everybody during spring and fall alike last year would back up the notion that he was the best running back in the room throughout all those months. He has gone nowhere. He's healthier now, and he possibly could take over as a starting running back once again. Jason Brown Jr., very talented four-star back that really showed what he can do in the Sun Bowl game. Demarius Man Robinson, again, he flashed on several occasions last year. Carde Mack, a freshman, he's probably going to be the running back of the future. And uh, David Abbott, he is a very strong back as well. Running back room in strong hands. One of the other things that I wanted to talk about was the quarterback room again. Cutter Boley continues to look very sharp in general. I asked Marcus Arroyo if he's seen anything in particular that stood out to him, and he just really said that, look, it's just 2 days in, and we understand that, but everything that we saw from Cutter on film at Kentucky, we're starting to see come to life here in practice. And he did bring up that he'll have an error here and there, which is part of transitioning to a new offense, a new environment. He didn't really seem to make too much about that, but you really see the talent that's been raved about from the outside. Now you're seeing that come into full form, and I fully agree with Coach Arroyo on that front. He did say that he could see the battle very much extending into the fall camp time frame. But I believe that it is an open competition. But at the same time, I think Cutter Boley is probably, this is what I'll say. I'll say that Cameron Dyer and Jake Fetty are probably the guys down the line, one or the other. Those are the two guys that you look to. I think both of them have very high ceilings. I just don't think they have the experience right now. I think Mikey Keene has done a pretty fair job so far of commanding the offense. You can tell he's very poised, but I don't think he quite has the arm talent that Cutter has. I think Cutter has probably the best blend of talent and experience right now for the team, and I think that he will be the starting quarterback. That is something that I'm already going to make a proclamation on of as far as what I think is going to happen. As for after pra before we get to after practice, there were a lot of former Arizona State players at practice today. Justin Watley was there. Got to talk to him for a minute. Amazing personality, amazing person. Uh, I'm absolutely rooting for him to make his mark in the NFL. As Keith Abney, Jordan Tyson, Rashad White were all there as well. And Kenny Dillingham revealed that Brock Osweiler was there in a closed session of practice on Friday. So it's great to see former Sun Devils showing up to support the new generation. And that's just awesome. As far as stuff that Dillingham and Brian Ward said, I'm going to focus more on Ward since this is the first time we've talked to him during the spring on an official basis. I asked him a question about CJ Fight and the leadership that he has displayed, and how Dillingham stated that he's really the only guy that got to stand up and talk in front of the team before spring kicked off. And he said that he believes that there are countless players on the team, and he was particularly speaking on the defense that want to be leaders, that are wired to be leaders, and that are ready to be leaders. They just need the right moment to find their niche, I guess. And I could totally see that. I think Boogie Wilson is one of those guys that's going to step forward in a major way as a leader this year. I think that you look at a guy like Jalen Thompson, who has a phenomenal track record of leading by example at Michigan State. You see the awards that he won there. Uh, Great example. I think Cyrus Fiaseyu really has a potential to step up. I think several guys on the offensive side of the ball, but this is more defensive focused, obviously, right now. What else did he say? He said that he believes that this might be the highest ceiling that a secondary he's ever coached has. And I think part of that has to do with Demetrius Martin and uh, Brian Carrington getting new jobs and promotions respectfully. Uh, the fact that Brian Ward's able to look at the defense in more of a big picture way instead of looking at the big picture and coaching safeties, I think that's going to take a large burden off of his shoulders. And I think that the guys that they brought in, we talked about Brian Carrington discussing that he has 8 scholarship cornerbacks now compared to 5 last year. I think that the resources that they were able to disperse around will pay off in a big way. And a lot of talk has been centered around Brian Car Roddy Bimage Jr. as a guy that really wants to take over as an alpha in the room. And that was kind of echoed by the coaches as well. I really do have high expectations for Rodney this coming season. And that's really the major takeaways I had from Arizona State practice on Saturday. Uh, Great day to be out there, even though it was pretty toasty. Um, and you can catch the videos from the availabilities that we had with all 3 coaches on sports videos on SI, on YouTube, and catch up with my practice report, among other things that I'm going to get out throughout the day on Arizona State Sun Devils on SI, si.com/Arizona State. Um, that's really all I have for today. And thank you so much for tuning in once again. and I will be back with another episode tomorrow. Thank you so much.